So today's kind of sad because it's the last of the wood grain series, and I love wood grains. So I'm sure I will find a reason to, shoehorn some in throughout the remainder of the year because, again, I love wood grains. But, before we talk about the final wood grain soap in the wood grain series line, hi, I'm Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudzers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the wood grain things. And today we are making the final of the wood grain series soap things. And this is actually Georgia May's turn. Now, this is an interesting bar because when Georgia May set out to make this, she had in her mind for the day that she was going to make a marble soap or a wood grain soap. And she wasn't 100% sure which she was going to make. And I think that's kind of cool. Actually, that's a really fun way to approach the soapy journey sometimes. Just you have an idea of the colors and the scent blend that you want to do, and you kind of let the pour guide you, and you figure it out as you go. So I ultimately decided with this that it is a wood grain and not a marble. I think Georgia May decided that she hated it either way. And I disagree completely because this is a very beautiful bar. And this would be Georgia May's second attempt if it were a marble, first attempt if it is a wood grain, and first attempt for both in a slab. And so that is what she's doing. She's working in a slab, and she has some very interesting colors going on here, and it's just a beautiful bar overall. So let's go watch Georgia be awesome at all of the things, and then you can comment below and say, Georgia May, you're awesome at all of the things. Let's go. Okay, this is Georgia May's turn at a wood grain soap. Now, I kind of stammered there because Georgia May was not sure if she was going to make a marbled soap or a wood grain soap when she started this. And I think that's pretty awesome and really, fun. And I can only imagine what her brain was doing as she was going through the mixy mix process of all of this. Is it wood grain? Is it marble? Maybe we'll just wait till the end to find out. It's fun, and a lot of soapy journeys actually start that way with no exact, pattern or design in mind, but kind of an idea of what you really want it to look like. So sometimes just a vague idea in mind is kind of all we have. So what she has, this looks like she's working with at least 3 different colors. Looks like a gray, a black, and like a pinky red. And oh, she's living my life right now with the messes and the things. It's all good. I get it. I understand. And then she also has the kaolin clay that's dispersed in water there, as well as the scent blend. Now, the scent blend is actually pretty cool. It is lemongrass, lavender, some woodsy notes, like some balsam, and then it also has a little bit of peppermint in it. So it definitely fits the theme of, a wood grain soap, if that's what she ultimately decides to do with all of it. And the oil blend is the same oil blend we used for yesterday's pour. So it's the 60-40 liquid 2 solids with, avocado and castor. I'm sorry, olive and castor and canola, and the babasu and the coconut. And it looks like she's pouring just a little bit off of each of her colors into the container. She did not use the kaolin in the total batch. Did you see her put it in? I guess if she did, I missed it. I mean, there's still some in the beaker up there, so I don't remember. Okay. But that's if she did not put any in. That's actually, well, regardless if she didn't put it all in, that's actually kind of unusual for her. Usually she puts the kaolin clay mixed with the water into the entire batch and then works from there. So she's doing it different today, which is cool. It's a different kind of pour. It's a different kind of process, and she's mixing it all up. And yep, so yeah, she's definitely working with a gray and a black, and then a really actually turned out to be very pretty red. I like that a lot. Now, I do know that she will be working in a slab mold for this because I cut the slab when she was done. And so she's going to be pouring into a slab, which can go either way still, with a marble or a wood grain. She can do it either way, really. And that is cool. With a slab mold, or with a log mold rather, you would have to sort of decide your pour kind of right away to get either a marble or a wood grain ish, I guess, ish. But anyway, so she has some titanium dioxide that she's put into the big bucket there, and still the kaolin has not made its appearance. And now I feel like I need to pause and go back. Did she put kaolin in at any point? I don't remember, because the container feels like it could be a little bit light, so maybe she put some in. I don't know. Regardless, it hasn't all gone in yet. And okay, she's gonna put some in all of the things, good. So she's doing it the way that I normally do the kaolin, which is to put it in at the very end. Now I do that because it's like a secondary liquid phase, right? So if you have the kaolin dispersed in water, or even oil to that, you can put it in after your colors are dialed in, after you've been working with that batter and thickening it up. If you find that it's too thick, you put the kaolin in, and it loosens the batter up, which is very nice. It's definitely a good idea to have a very thin batter for either pour that she could be doing, be it the marble or the wood grain for this. So maybe that's why she reserved it. Because I mean, if you're wanting to do like layers, for example, and you have the consistency that you want, and then you add the secondary like liquid phase, it loosens up the batter, and so then you have to work a bit, whatever. So it's smart that she held it off for this, but you can kind of go either way. And for us, we put the scent blend in absolutely last, after everything has been mixed up and colored and all that jazz. That's also not necessary. You can put the scent in with your oils if you want. I mean, do your thing. Okay, now on to the pour, and she is going to do a sort of in the pot swirl, looking like thin lines. So again, this could still go either way. With a slab mold, it could be a marble technique or a wood grain technique with this. I like how she's laying the colors in two different places in the container. That's very cool. And that's interesting. That's very interesting. Got some extra, she held off some white to create essentially more layers in the pot than, yes, okay, so I'm very curious to see what this ends up doing, because like normally with the thin lines, right, you put a little bit of your color in on top of the white, and then you pour it in, and then as the white starts to become the predominant color again, you put more of the color on top, and you continue that process. But it looks like she's just going to go all out and get all of it into the mold, or into the pot at the same time, and create cool layers between the different stages that it will come out of the Pyrex, really, that's cool. That's also a way to do it. I've never done it this way, and I am intrigued. You know, the old there's more than one way to skin a cat thing, which is a weird statement in and of itself. Like, who would skin a cat? But yeah, there's more than one way to make a wood grain. I mean, we've shown you three ways so far today, or this week, and there's more than one way to do a thin lines pour. All of the things, and so she's showing us a different way. And I love watching soap go into the mold. It's so satisfying, especially with a pour like this, and it kind of ribbons out like that. So beautiful. And that in and of itself, that's very cool. That's very beautiful. You could sort of ship that, and really not do much else with it, and all of the bars would be very cool. If I were to be doing a wood grain at this point, I would get the rest of the soap in the mold, and then I would do some spins on the counter to sort of force those ribbons of color there to kind of fold in on each other. And also just because I like spinning slab molds, it's very fun for me. So, and if I were doing a marble, I don't know. I might just kind of leave it. But we are, oh, cute. She is very, you guys know how Georgia May is like the most meticulous person in the world, right? So she's totally just putting colors in places where she feels there needs to be color right now. And this is, I think, the painter coming out in her, because I would not think to do this, really. I would look at that and go, oh, well, this bar here is just going to be white and gray, and that's just fine. And she went, no, I'm gonna put the things in and do the things. So there's like pink represented all over the place, and that's cool. Well done, you. Now, I think she still has a little bit of the, yep, she still has a little bit of the color left. So this is where we get to watch Georgia May be meticulous and perfect with all of the colors and all of the things. And she will have to come on and explain the thought process behind all of this. So we'll have to wait for her in the comments, really, to see why she decided to do it this way. And in all honesty, this could very well just be an issue of there's soap still left in the containers, and so you want to get them in the mold, but you want to get them in the mold in a way that makes sense, I guess. So, you know, you could just scrape everything out like I do with my messy tops, but then you have a messy top, because again, this is a slab, so what you see is what you get. You're looking at, well, you know, 12 bars for this little test batch. You're looking at 12 different bars essentially here. And this is it. This is the pattern. You're not cutting it and seeing something on the inside. I mean, you are, because you get the cool, you know, effect on the inside of this bar, but it's not the main body of the bar. The main body of the bar is what you see right now. So it's smart that she did that. It's very cool, and it looks beautiful. And I think she's still right now debating, am I going to take a skewer to this? Am I going to play with this, or am I going to leave it alone? And I think she's going to ultimately decide to leave it alone and put this thing in the oven and put it through gel, make sure it's C-popped, and we can then, you know, cut it tomorrow and see whether we decide it's a marbled or a wood grain soap, really. And you know, I guess my cut cards kind of gave it away as to what I think it is, because I decided that this was an Elderwood, and I love it, and added it to the wood grain instead of a marble soap, because I, after cutting it, decided that these totally looked like, I mean, the colors are great, the scent blend is great, it just screamed Elderwood to me. And, you know, whatever. I am an uber geek when it comes to things like literature and like fantasy and video games, and yeah, so I went Elderwood, and I, you know, thought of the Elder Wand, and this is just what it reminded me of, and so it stuck for me. I decided that this was definitely a wood grain soap as I was cutting it, and not a marble soap, and so that's what I went with. I don't believe that Georgia felt that this was a marbled soap either, but it makes a very pretty wood grain, so that works. And oh yeah, like, yeah, look at this. Once we start cutting these pieces, it's totally going to all come together and go, oh yeah, totally, that's a wood grain. I can absolutely see that. And, you know, Elderwood, which is, you know, again, the Elder Wand and all of the things. I mean, I almost just said Elder Scrolls, but that's not what that is. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe the parchment from the scrolls is made from an Elderwood tree. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. This definitely was a good, for me, when I saw this, I went, yeah, this is definitely more of a wood grain than a marble, and it definitely complements all of the, oh, and the inside pattern is so beautiful. I love that. And it definitely complements the other three that we have done for the wood grain, you know, soaps this week. So I think that that is cool, and we're totally going to roll with that. Yeah, the inside of this bar is so beautiful. I love that. A lot of times with a slab, the biggest trick is going to be, like the hardest thing is going to be getting cool lines and fun patterns in the middle of, on the inside of the bar, essentially, because you're working with less space. There's less depth, really. But she did an excellent job with this. That was a cool idea, pouring it the way that she did into the pot, doing a full, like in the pot, thin lines pour thing, and then pouring it out. It's another variation. Like yesterday I showed you a variation with the faux column, faux funnel, whatever, and today here's another variation on the thin lines. And you know, that's super beautiful. I love that. That might be my favorite bar, actually. That one's beautiful. And the scent on this, really, she knocked it out of the park. She's really great with scent blends. So again, peppermint, lavender, and some balsam. It's really good. And that is day 163, the fourth in our wood grain soaps, the Elderwood. It's beautiful. Everything she does is beautiful. Like, it was so funny when I came into, you know, the shop or whatever the next day to cut all the bars, and she had this sitting there. She had a little note that was like, so, you know, I make awesome soaps, because she had done that same day, she'd done giant batches of the Am I Bright, of the Hello Gorgeous, of something else, the rosé, and her rosé was beautiful. She did giant batches of these and she rocked at them. And then for the, you know, wood grain soap, she didn't think she did such a good job. And I think she did an amazing job, and it's absolutely beautiful, and I'm proud to add it to the wood grain series for the fall line. So you did good, kid. Keep it up. And if you are interested in Georgia May's wood grain soap, you can totally find it on the website. It's at soapandclay.com. If you are interested in following me on social media, I'm there. Do the things: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. And if you would like to see what else we have in store for you for, you know, the fall and the winter, all of the craziness that happens during this time of the year, and there's a lot of craziness, subscribe to the channel, because we do this every single day, as the name 365 Days of Soap might suggest, and I would love to have you, you know, along for the ride. For those of you who have been along for the ride, thank you so much. I super appreciate it. You guys are awesome, and I hope you enjoyed today's pour. For the soapers that are watching this, I hope you guys found some cool tips and tricks throughout the past 4 days for your wood grain soaps. It's definitely a fun process to play with. I really do like this technique, and there's a lot of ways to do it, as we've shown you. And yeah, that really does it for me today. Again, thank you for joining me for another round, and I will see you all again tomorrow. Bye.